Thanks, Mike. Call the June Personnel Finance Committee meeting to order. I need approval of the agenda, please. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Here's to pass. Public comment? Is there any public comment? One more time, last call, public comment. No public comment at this time. We'll move on to the minutes of the May meeting.
Move to approve the minutes.
Thank you. All in favor? Next will be finance report for the month. Jim? Welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We're presenting to you the monthly financials for the 4 months ended in April 2013. Our budget benchmark is 33 1/3%, and our expenditure is right on target, just happened that way, at 33.3%. In addition to the items that I've highlighted on the expenditure side, to explain Community Correction Board, there's some prepayment of some education expense, which throws them over at 42%. And in addition to that, the miscellaneous, non-departmental, there's 2 items there. One, there's a prepayment of our MMRMA insurance for the year. And also there's some additional continuing expense with the storm sewer legal question and some other legal fees, which has put us over the pace, over the benchmark. Thank you.
Any questions or discussion? I have one.
Yes, sir.
We're 4 months into the benchmark of our annual budget. The line says, how does that 33%?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Right in your cover letter.
4 months. It's 4
Pardon me?
months or 1/3. 1/3 of the way through. 33%.
Okay, but then we're only 3 months in. Okay, I'm fine. Thank you.
Okay.
Need a motion to accept the report? No. We're good, okay. Next up for our review is the retirement drop list for county employees. I only seen one name on there. In discussion, or? Next up will be our treasurer report. Welcome, Karen.
Good afternoon. Okay, I'm going to queue up for you the most recent financial, as far as the investment portfolio is concerned. I have sent along via email the information for March and April as well as May, but I did want to give you the most recent information, so we'll take some time to look through this as far as for the investment portfolio. As of the end of May, we were holding $2.7 million in certificates of deposit, which comprises roughly 6% of the total portfolio. For the money market accounts, which is our cash accounts, we have several different accounts that we keep money liquid. We had just over $5 million, comprising just about 11% of the portfolio, and then the largest share is the fixed assets or the treasuries and agencies at $38 million, bringing the total portfolio to $45,844,000. That, if you look at the trend chart, this historical comparison by month, hopefully you can appreciate the color difference there, but it shows that we're trending just about the same as last year for this month. Not a lot of cash. I wish we were back in 2011. You can see that spike there, but we're holding steady. So May is also the month that we issue all of our checks to the taxing jurisdictions to pay for the current year's taxes that come to the Treasurer's Office delinquent. So I've had to make sure that we had funds available to do that. That's why you'll see sort of a little decrease in the total dollars in the investment portfolio. If you recall, I had to write $11.5 million out for those. And for revenue, which is down at the bottom here, taxes, we're just at $759,000. Remember, we won't get the majority of those taxes until late September, October. Our dog licenses are holding steady at $55,000, and passports just rounding over $7,000 at the end of May. If there's no questions, I'll go on to the next page. This is a new document for you. Instead of the spreadsheet, I kind of made it cleaner. It just shows the listings of the positions and holdings, shows you the current rate, what the value of those specific holdings are, and the maturity date. It seems to be a little bit clearer, hopefully, rather than the spreadsheet, the working spreadsheet that I had for our office. So hopefully you'll enjoy this report. If you have any questions or comments on that, I would welcome that. All this does is show you the individual CDs and the individual treasurers and agencies, and you'll see at the bottom, this $45 million matches what the summary page indicated. Here's our monthly pooled interest. This is a working draft that we have right now. There's some deficits that we are trying to correct as far as doing some journal entries, so that's why it's a draft at this point. Nothing out of the ordinary, though. It looks like we allocated just about $1,000 in interest. That's pretty standard for the month of May. Here's your monthly pooled unallocated interest. Those are those accounts that we do not currently allocate interest per the board. And here is the new map for June. These are the new forfeitures coming through the cycle. We have currently 1,861 parcels that came through as of March 1st. We began at 2588, so we've had some people coming in and paying those delinquent taxes already, which is a good sign. The number is still high as comparison to years past, but we'll continue to whittle that number down. Remember, this running number will continue upwards until next March 31st, and will be the number foreclosing at that time. Any questions on the map for current forfeitures, foreclosures? Okay. This is the breakdown here. I still think this is valuable data. I know it's not user-friendly to your eyes, but if you wanted to get specific information about your townships, this is a good data tool to use. So if there are no questions, I'd like to take some time to talk about foreclosures, and I've got a document that I'd like to pull up for that. Okay. Let me see if I can increase this. I will also provide this to you via an email. I want to kind of do a map breakdown of the county and then delegate or designate all of the foreclosures for each of the townships. We don't have that prepared for you today, but I will be working on that and hopefully getting that to you by the week's end. Our final number that we ended up with for foreclosure this year was 277 parcels. Originally in April 17th, I sent out an email with some other statistics and data. We were at 281, so the number that we finally worked down to is 277. That is a decrease, which is a good thing. We had 294 last year, so 277 this year. So slight decrease, and as I reported out in April, I think that's due to the Step Forward Hardest Hit Michigan MSHDA program that was available. We were able to assist a lot of taxpayers to get those taxes paid and avoid the foreclosure that we did April 1st. Yes, Phil.
You know roughly how many people took advantage of that program?
Approximately 100 taxpayers we were able to help. And I say taxpayers because they may have had multiple parcels that we were dealing with, multiple years. So approximately just over 100 taxpayers. That may not sound like a lot, but it really is. This is kind of different this year in that we had this amount of money available to help people with foreclosure prevention.
We could have been at 377?
We could have been well over 300 foreclosed parcels if those dollars were not available.
What's been our worst year for this?
294 last year was our highest year.
Wow.
So we could have easily surpassed that this year if these federal dollars and state dollars were not available.
Thank you.
Sure. I can go through and highlight, I'm not sure if you can see this. This is by unit. I think it's helpful to indicate those that have improved properties versus vacant land. We're at 277 is the total. We had, of the 277, 117 of those parcels were improved, had houses or structures on them, and then 160 were vacant. We did have some developments that we foreclosed on. We had a trailer park in the village of Concord, I believe, that we foreclosed on with 20 trailers on. That was new for us this year. We're working through that. We had some other, I think there was 11 or so lots in Napoleon in a development that we foreclosed on as well. So we're still seeing a wide spectrum. You know, we're impacting people by foreclosing on their homes and going through the eviction process. We're in the middle of doing that right now. And then we have vacant land. So it's interesting to see how those numbers are still impacting the county, and they're still, unfortunately, relatively high. But as I mentioned, I'll get this into a more user-friendly report to you so you can report out to your townships. Any questions on the foreclosure? I know that we have an item for discussion today, the county's first right. I believe that there's a parcel we're going to partner with Community Action Agency utilizing the Neighborhood Stabilization Project dollars. But other than that, I've not received notification from either the state and or any of the townships or city that they're pursuing taking under their first right. So looks like this may be the only parcel that gets taken under that first right.
Karen, when's the deadline for them to do that?
I'd like to have all of that information done by June 1st. But here we are. So definitely before our first auction, August 20th. We try to get the information to the townships because we like to have them do it by resolution so that the townships can have a discussion as a board whether or not they want to take that parcel, have a plan of action for it, then they actually do a resolution either accepting parcels in their township or denying. So we kind of make it a formal process. There may be townships that still haven't yet met this month, so we'll be getting those resolutions for denying, I'm sure, by the end of the month. Any other questions about foreclosure?
Guess not. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good report. I have a question. Oh, we got one here. Karen?
Yes.
Hi, Karen. As you know, we're struggling with budget. And just a quick question. Some of the commissioners have asked, and I thought, perhaps I just ask you. I'm sure you know the answer. In looking for answers, we have had people say, we have this tax foreclosure fund, and it has lots of money. Why don't we use that? Could you talk to us about, one, how much is there, what legally can be used or cannot, and what the impact of us using that would be on that fund, and you, and the county?
The Delinquent Tax Revolving Fund is a fund that acts as an enterprise fund. The fund was developed, statute came to pass where the county treasurers could, in conjunction with the Board of Commissioners, actually create a delinquent tax revolving fund. Jackson County did do that. I'm not sure of the year. It was probably 2008, maybe sooner than that. When the statute became available for us to do that, we did that and created this fund. And historically, the county treasurer's office has been funded out of that fund. We create and generate the revenue, providing 49% of the county's general fund with the collection of property taxes, and with that we fund most of our staff and functions with right down to postage and personnel. So it is truly acting as an enterprise fund in that we generate our revenue and we also take our expenses out of that. In fact, the county treasurer's office has minimal impact on the county general fund. When we were doing our 5, 10, 20 exercise, I think my maximum for the 20% was about $60,000. So that gives you kind of a guesstimate that the county treasurer's office really does not have a very big touch on the general fund as far as expenditures are concerned. As far as what's legally available, the county commissioners, if they wish, can so choose to take those dollars. However, I would caution that since the county developed the delinquent tax revolving fund, we do not fund. We do not bond. We do not do any tax anticipation notes in the preparation for when every March that we have to buy the delinquent taxes from all of the townships and the city. There are counties that do bonding every single year in anticipation of having to pay those large dollars to the local units for taking those taxes over. If we decide to, as a county board, start to utilize the delinquent tax fund for plugging in holes of the general fund budget, I would caution that I be a part of that conversation, one, because it directly impacts the functionality of what we can do in the treasurer's office, and if dollars are taken from that account, then we will have to do bonding. We will have to go out and bond some way, shape, or form to pay those taxing jurisdictions every March. Right now, we do not do that. I make sure that there's enough dollars available through the investment portfolio and any of the hot monies that I deal with, cash accounts that we have, so that I can pay those checks. So it would definitely have a dramatic change in the structure of how we access those dollars, and planning. It would require more planning than it does right now. I do not know if there's any legality indicating that the commissioners cannot do that. I would just have caution with regard to that. It's not an end-all, be-all, that's for sure.
Couple of things. Karen, do you know what's in there right now or not, ballpark?
Well, I just wrote $11.5 million out of there, so there's probably not a whole heck of a lot because we're not getting any revenue in right now. We won't see, remember, that income, the property tax revenue come in until September, October. So I'm in a holding pattern right now. June, July, and August, and even into September is really concerning months for me. I watch it very closely because we are still writing checks out of our pooled account, and I need to make sure that there's monies available for those.
Is it somewhere online where we could see the history of that account or fund, or is that something that we could get from you at some point?
That would be something that would have to be developed.
Okay. I'm sorry.
In the county audit every year, there's a complete thing of the delinquent tax revolving fund, and you'd have to get all the audits and line them up to see how it functions. Mm-hmm. But I think in this county that fund was created about 1970, because I think the statute that allowed the
Is it that long?
creation of the
Wow.
delinquent tax revolving fund was passed in 1969, but I'm old and I may not.
Well, there's also a tax administration fund that's available per the statute, and this county does not do that. There are counties that have actually two funds that they use for their county treasurer's office. This tax administration fund, which we roll right into the delinquent tax revolving fund. So Jackson County is unique in how we handle that delinquent tax revolving fund. There are a majority of the county treasurers that actually have 2, even 3 accounts that they utilize.
Do you have any idea roughly what's there right now after you've paid your checks out?
It's June. I checked last month, and according to the cash on hand, it was just about $9 million, just over $9 million. But that fluctuates. It's not a static figure. So what it is today, I cannot tell you. I have not looked at that account today.
Somewhere close, though, I would assume.
Close for,
It didn't, probably don't jump to 13 and drop back down to 2. It stays in the 9 million range until payments come in?
I would caution to say yes, Maybe we should look to do some type of a historical perspective report so that I can get a better figure, but it's a fluctuation of an account. It's in and it's out. Like I said, it was at 9 million, and it's deceiving because, remember, this delinquent tax revolving fund funds a large portion of the capital improvement dollars that are available for the county.
Is this-
Transfers in and transfers out that the county board allocates also goes in and out of that account. So it's not like it's a box of money sitting under a table. It's a very fluid account, and the county is utilizing this account. It's not utilizing it to fill budget holes, but the delinquent tax revolving fund is funding the necessary functions for the county and has since its inception.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions of the treasurer?
Thank
Karen.
you.
Next up, we'll have our semi-annual IT report. Connie?
There we go. Great. Welcome. Glad to be here. So over the last 6 months, we've been very busy. First off, I usually throw in a chart of our ticket counts, and we're really happy on the months that it drops below 400. The best news, though, our ticket categories have remained pretty much the same, but our average working hours to close by month is significantly decreased. But that usually means that right now in May, we weren't in a major project. When we have a major project to do, change a phone system, change a phone vendor, it generates tickets. And the time to close those tickets increases. So I would say May was a stable month because there was not a major project going on. Now, as of this week, we are changing Mobile 9 for the police department. So that's a major project, and we'll see some fluctuation in those time to close. Okay. Major projects, imaging, the clerk's imaging project is in the planning stages, and we have just today come to an agreement on the statement of work, and we'll be bringing that proposal to you next month. So we have implemented a new backup system for imaging. You were nice enough to approve the second ExaGrid. We have 2 of those dedupe backup devices right now that will definitely improve the support and failover for our imaging system, which is real important as the clerk. If you can imagine, the court system starts their processes to go paperless. We're preparing an RFP for the multifunction devices, and the results of that I hope to bring to you in July also. Projects, we do have a new telecom provider. It's Windstream. It has been implemented. Couple bumps, but we worked our way through them, and now we're going to enjoy the financial savings from taking the time to RFP that project and make a vendor change. We are researching replacing our SAN, which is our storage area network. It's the virtual backbone of our server environment. It will go out of support and out of service in March of 2014, so it's very important for us to do our due diligence and plan for that replacement very carefully. We also have a team together researching virtual desktop, external or internal cloud services. That is extremely where the market is going. It's new. It has pros and cons on every avenue. And instead of just one person researching this, like maybe the old days where I would. We're using the HPO concept. We've actually put together a team for this, and we've been meeting every other week. And I'm really impressed with the value add my entire department and their expertise is adding in that. It's a great way to do business. Yes?
Virtual desktop system, does that mean that our desktop can computer and type in?
Anywhere in the world.
So if we have a severing of the fiber line between here
No, they wouldn't. No, they wouldn't. It depends on our vendor and what we do with the internet. At the present time, we're looking at changing our internet provider to Comcast, but if we went to this environment, we would probably even research a failover vendor for internet. There's, more than one and more than one path to get there. So we could do something like that. In addition, the virtual that we're considering, if you were away at a laptop or something, you would still have functionality whether you were connected back home or not. So it's yes.
That work to fix board docs too?
We'll work on that. We'll work on it. Yeah, let's just go on for right now. Internet cloud services, we're really looking at Office 365 Pro. So just to give you some variation. The other thing that Virtual Desktop does for you is it allows you to bring your own device. It allows you to put a foundation in place for that maybe you're doing your work off of iPad or you're doing it off a laptop or a workstation. You'll get the same product no matter where you're coming. So. Okay, projects, additional ones, we're moving the AS400 to our Active Directory to meet some CGIS requirements, and that has to do with security. I'll keep that simple. We're implementing Mobile 9 for the sheriff and outlining agencies, and that's a huge project that will be going on this week. We added a second fax server that was implemented, and just to kind of say that in district court, some judges are wanting to do their warrants and approve the searches on their iPads, and that was important for us to do that for that project. And I think that's very state-of-the-art, and they'll be able to sign a warrant and send it back to an officer from anywhere. So, pretty proud of that. RSA tokens, those are your remote security authentication tokens, and the CGIS, or State Police, is requiring us to do this dual authentication, and we are going to be implementing those by the end of the month for the police agencies in their cars, and it has to do with their mobile computers, their MDCs. We're moving to Comcast soon for the internet service provider, and thank you for approving that previously, and we're going to increase our bandwidth from 15 megs to 100 megs. So. The website, obviously, we've been doing a lot, Jackson 2020 development, the Jackson leadership development, Math Makes a Difference, has several campaigns and contests. And we are also reviewing the different mobile customer response management applications to move our request system into the mobile app world. So we're excited about that. Be able to submit questions and tickets possibly, or report potholes on a mobile device. Taking a picture and also having GIS coordinates.
Wow.
Okay. And that's kind of in a nutshell. I don't want to keep you long. Is there any questions though? I'll be happy to answer them.
Any questions? Discussion? You're very busy. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. There you go.
Okay, next up we have a Human Resource Resolution 05-13-19. For discussion, it's basically a change in verbiage, I believe. Discussion? Commissioner Elwell.
Is this the same issue that we postponed from 2 meetings ago? And have there been clarification discussions with the employees that spoke during public comment at that meeting to clarify any confusion or issues?
If I may, yes, it is the same one. However, that part has been removed from this. We thought, we need to go ahead and move this forward, and then that additional portion we can just do again later down the road, because we're still working with those unions on those grievances and so forth. And the HR director is here. She can answer any questions.
That's correct.
Okay. Have there been discussions with those employees on that issue or not?
We've had multiple discussions. We've had a couple of requests for actuarial, additional information from the actuary. And in fact, we just received that recently, and I just forwarded our most recent actuarial responses to the 4 unions who are affected. So,
Okay, so these are all different issues, not related to those from before, correct?
Yes,
Okay,
right.
Thank you.
Any further question or discussion?
I would move the resolution.
Support.
Moved and supported, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Go to the full board. Thank you.
thank you.
Next up, we have facilities, Rick?
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon. You're wanting to purchase a vehicle. Tell us about it, please.
Well, the vehicle in question is a 2000 Chevrolet van that is used by juvenile court, just goes back and forth between the courthouse, the juvenile hall, and then back again. This is part of a planned replacement, budgeted for replacement this year, and we'd like to request permission to purchase.
Discussion, questions? Need a motion?
Question.
Okay, go ahead, Commissioner Rice.
Rick, on here you have, underneath subject, you have request to purchase a new facilities truck. And then further on in the explanation, you talk about a van.
Oh, my mistake. It is a van.
Okay. Because
My subject title was wrong.
I'll let Commissioner Elwell take it from here.
Well, no, I was looking through the claims, and it looks like we approved a $22,000 purchase from Red Holman. I wanted to make sure it wasn't the same one, but
No.
that looks like a truck. This is a van,
This
if
is
I'm
a
reading it
van.
right. And I think that was for parks, was it not, the last one?
No, the last one was for facilities.
Okay.
Correct.
Commissioner Rice.
I move to purchase the van.
Got a motion and support. All in favor? Thank you. Motion approved.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we have a property to discuss, the right of first refusal by the county. This will be the property on Broad Street, Michigan Center. It's a joint project with Community Action Agency. Discussion? Questions? Commissioner Elwell?
I'm curious, I'm sure the administrator went through the list with a fine-tooth comb, but I'm curious if there were, maybe not, any other properties that were on the list that may have met the same criteria as far as CAA, working with CAA to...
I assure you, there are no properties to my knowledge that they've asked for.
List is not board doc.
Thank you from the politician.
Any other discussion?
Move to full board to purchase 303 Broad Street.
Need support? Approved, motion made and supported, all in favor? Aye. None against? Thank you. Okay. Next item on our agenda is a request from the Administrator's Office to schedule public hearings on the county strategic plan. The request is for 2 public hearings, one at the June Board of Commission meeting, the second at the July Board of Commission meeting. Any discussion, questions?
I would so move the recommendation to the full board.
Support.
Approved, motion and support, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. None opposed. Thank you very much. Next is a number of policy eliminations. I believe this will be duplicate policies from the former road commission to get them in line with regular county policies. Discussions?
Move the full board, the listed policies to be eliminated.
Motion and support is there. All in favor? Aye. None opposed? Thank you. Next up is, from the Administrator's Office, is a deletion of Policy 5290. This is an obsolete road commission policy setting compensation for road commissioners. All in favor? Aye. It passes unanimously. Thank you. Next up, the payment of the claims. All in favor? Aye. Anybody wish to review other minutes? Any questions on them? Okay, next up, July reporting schedule. I didn't see anything on there. Okay, we're back to public comment.
If I may, answer the question regarding any other possible considerations, properties for consideration to take into the county's first right. While we were actually going out in the field looking at the improved properties in Blackman, Leone, and Summit Township as part of our NSP program with CAA, I forwarded pictures of the houses and let Toby Berry know at CAA. So she did receive that information very generically, late April, mid-April, late April, and I don't know if it fit within her grids. You know, she's got very specific grids that they've got to use, but I did communicate with her any possible houses in those 3 townships so that she would have hopefully a full picture of what to look for if any of those fit the guidelines. You're welcome.
And again, we're past the deadline, correct? Isn't it, you say the deadline June?
No.
Okay, what was that
All he
deadline?
wishes to take, I'll make
Okay,
consideration for that.
thank you. Committee member comments? No comments? Meeting adjourned. Oh, excuse me, go ahead.
The general fund, just on the delinquent tax revolving fund, the general fund is made whole with the taxes, just like when she pays off all the other local units, she pays the county also. So we're not going to get any more revenue out of that fund. We've got our revenues, just like all the other units have. The purpose of the delinquent tax revolving fund was to save the county's money by not having them borrow, because otherwise, like this year, she'd had to borrow, the county would have had to borrow $11 million worth of bonds at some interest rate, and then next year, we'd have to borrow another 11, and what you do is, the taxes that come in for the 2013 year, you put them, pay off the 13 bonds, and when the taxes, and you keep doing this, and so you never get out of a hole. A lot of counties, and I don't think Jackson did, but I'm not sure, sold bonds to set up the fund. Paid those off, and then now the fund is self-sufficient. The county here has historically made capital improvements out of some of the revenue that's in there, which is a lifesaver. The fair has borrowed money from the tax, other funds have borrowed money from the tax revolving fund. So, even though there's cash there, it's not going to help. We're operating on that cash daily.
Yes.
It's not going to help the county's budget to take anything out of the delinquent tax revolving fund. And I don't remember, but I think the statute was passed in '69, and the funds were created in most counties in 1970. But and the county, the interest that was collected when you sell bonds all has to go to pay off the bonds, and anything that's left over, the county gets to have. Now, the county gets the collection fee, the county gets the interest, the county gets any other fees that are related to those taxes. So, I don't, unless the law is changed, the county can dissolve the tax revolving fund anytime they want and start borrowing money again, which, if you want to, it's stupid to do that. So, it was one of the things that was done a long time ago to help counties, and I believe it has. So, the one place that I have a question maybe, and is in the, what was the fund we just created to the land bank?
Yes.
If there's excess cash in the land bank, I don't know if that would be my only.
16,000 cash on hand in the land bank.
Okay, so, but anyway, that's my 2 cents in history.
Thank you. Commissioner Elwell.
I haven't heard anybody suggest that we should take that money and start using it to plug holes one time in the budget, but I think these are good discussions to have that are necessary for us to be doing the due diligence on what we're obligated to do. You know, when the public hears that there's, I'm thinking there's 18 million at some point in there, or there may, okay, well, multiple millions, their first thought is, why don't we use that money? And I want to be able to answer that. And all the good points that Dave brought up are good discussion points, but we need to have those discussion points to let the public know that we're doing the right thing, because it is crunch time, so, thank you.
Thank you. Is this the fund that keeps the county's checks solvent through the collection of the taxes? Because you get the spike in revenues in September and I think February?
It's all connected.
Okay,
It's all connected, yes.
thank you. Any other discussion, comments? Meeting adjourned.